These little briefs are good.
Yeah,
Call to order of the regular meeting of Goodyear City Council, February 11, 2008. Please join Councilmember Cavalier in the Pledge of Allegiance and the invocation.
Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please remain standing and join us if you wish. Heavenly Father, please bring this city council together as a team. Guide us to make good decisions for our city and our citizens, and protect our armed services, men and women, and bring them home safe. All this we pray in your name. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you. Councilmember Osborne has an illness in her family this evening. She is not expected to be here. Could I have a motion to excuse her?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by stating aye, please.
Aye.
Opposed? Councilmember Osborne is excused on unanimous vote. There are no expenditures to ratify. Any communications? I have none. Okay, opportunity now for anyone in the public who would wish to comment, express their opinion on any subject that is not on this evening's agenda. Would anyone like to speak on a non-agenda item? Proceed to the consent agenda and ask the clerk to read the consent items, please.
Item A, approve the transfer of $6 million from the Ottoman Water CIP project into the Bullard Water Campus CIP project to allow completion of the Phase 2 improvements in advance of summer 2008 water demands. Item B, approve the Memorandum of Understanding between the Arizona Office of the State Fire Marshal and the Goodyear Fire Department requesting the CGFD review plans and perform inspections of state and county-owned buildings and all public and private schools on behalf of the Arizona Office of the State Fire Marshal. Item C, approve rescheduling the March 10, 2008 regular council meeting to March 3, 2008. That's it.
Anyone in the public wish to remove an item from the consent agenda? Would anyone on council wish to remove an item from the consent agenda?
Yes, I'd like to do A and C. It's just a correction on C.
Do you want to talk about it before we take a vote? Or?
Yeah, on C. Yeah, it's just that no longer are we vice mayor and 2 council members attending League of Cities.
Okay.
That needs to be corrected.
Okay. So C then, and you'll correct C accordingly?
It will be corrected in the minutes, and I read the motion without that language, just that we're changing the meeting.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
And then,
What is it?
Councilmember Lord, you want to also remove A?
Yeah, I just, Sean, I called Sean and asked for an explanation. He has an extra slide to show us, so if we could.
So shall we hold the vote?
Sure, you can hold the vote.
Okay.
Let him do it.
All right, Sean?
Sean, yeah.
Oh.
That's a little small, sorry. Good evening, Mayor, members of the council. Apologize for the size of that font. I'll catch that next time, but...
You must have mistaken our ages.
No, my own. I can't even read it. What I was proposing and asking for the council to approve was a transfer from this year's current CIP budget from one project into another. For this current year, we've got the Ottoman Water Company budgeted for approximately $20 million, and the Bullard Water Campus project budgeted for approximately $2.4 million. The Bullard Water Campus is currently undergoing some capacity improvements and enhancements. We're actually building a permanent facility and adding additional redundancy and water capacity to that facility. It's currently housed in a tent structure, and it's not very secure, and we're moving it all into a building with controls and additional treatment capacity. We went to council last year and received approval for a not-to-exceed amount of approximately $12.5 million to do a permanent water campus at Bullard. In the Phase 1 part of that project was a guaranteed maximum price with the remaining council authorization if we could get a GMP to fit within that. The Phase 2 GMP is coming in at about $6 million, and that will complete the project a year in advance. So what we're asking for, what Water Resources is asking for tonight is to transfer $6 million from the Ottoman project into the Bullard Water Campus project this year. And that will complete the project ahead of schedule and under budget. So it'll come in within the council-approved authorization. What we're looking to do in the future CIP years is reassess the Ottoman timing. We believe with the downturn, we've had a decrease in water demands, and that's going to allow us additional time to complete Ottoman. So we'll transfer any monies that are earmarked for the Bullard Water Campus in next year's budget back into Ottoman. So neither project will be increased in cost, in value. The Ottoman is still scheduled for 20 million. In this current construction phase at Bullard is still contracted at 12.5. So there's no increase in cost. It's just getting things ahead of schedule, getting things done for summer 2008. By completing the Bullard Water Campus project, we think we're going to be in a very good position to meet summer water demands. We didn't see quite the increase we expected in 2007, and we expect that trend to continue in 2008, and this facility will put us in a very good position to meet summer demand water. So,
Thank you, Sean.
thank you. So, any questions?
I'm fine.
Thank you very much.
All right, then we have consent agenda items A, B, and C are prepared to vote. Any opposition to that? No? Okay. Roll call vote, please.
Vice Mayor Antoniak.
Aye.
Councilmember Sousa.
Aye.
Councilmember Cavalier.
Aye.
Councilmember Lord.
Aye.
Councilmember Holland.
Aye.
Mayor Kavanaugh.
Aye.
Passes 6-0.
Okay, thank you. We'll now move to the business part of our agenda. We'll start with the public hearing to consider an application for an off-track wagering permit. Open the public hearing.
Mayor
Lynn Mulhall.
Kavanaugh and council members, we received a request from Daniel Luciano, representing Phoenix Greyhound Park, who has applied for an off-track wagering permit to be used at Goodyear Crossroads Lounge, which is located in the America's Best Value Inn on Dysart Road. In 2001, council adopted an ordinance to address off-track betting and to put in place procedures and requirements to govern the consideration of applications such as this. In that ordinance, it requires us to have a public hearing. We posted notice of the public hearing and mailed a notice to all residents within 500 feet of the facility. I think there were about 31 letters that we sent out. And you must take action on this by a roll call vote, either yes, no, or no recommendation. The application has been routed to all the departments, and we did not receive any concerns back. And Mr. Curtis Swanberg from Phoenix Greyhound Park is here to answer any questions you may have.
Okay, thank you. Opportunity now for the public. Any comments from the public? Would the applicant like to speak? Yes, sir.
Only if you have any questions.
Okay.
I'd be more than happy to answer.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, seeing no comments from the public, I'll close the public hearing, and I'll call for a motion, please, to approve the application.
Move we approve the application for new off-track wagering permit for Goodyear Crossroads Lounge.
Second.
I have a motion from Vice Mayor Antoniak and a second from Councilmember Holland. This will end up with a roll call vote, and again, during the roll call, you can approve, you can deny, or you can state no recommendation. Okay, so I have a motion and a second. It's now open for discussion.
Mr.
Yes.
I don't have any objections over this licensing, this off-track betting situation, but I would recommend that staff reconsider the ordinance and perhaps begin thinking about putting restrictions on such licenses as it pertains to gambling operations in general. I don't mean that this could get out of hand, but I don't want that to happen. And that's the reason I would ask the staff that they do consider, or that we ask staff to consider reviewing this ordinance and to perhaps restrict the number of licenses that we offer in the city of Goodyear for this type of arrangement. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Is there any opposition to that becoming an action item for the staff? Okay. All right, other comments? Vice Mayor?
When you talk about no violations that have been reported on the inn property, are there specific violations that you're looking at? Or
We contact the police department and we ask them if there have been any alcohol-related incidences, and we were told that there were not.
so it's related to the bar establishment?
Yes.
Okay. Not to the entire property itself?
No.
And this is a recommendation that would fall similarly in line to what we do on liquor licenses when they come in front of
Yes.
us? So we're just a recommending body? A formal
Right.
authority
It
stays
goes
with
to the
Gaming
Gaming
Commission.
Commission.
Okay.
Mayor, Councilmember Cavalier?
In the Phoenix Greyhound Park, with this company, is there any, did we do any checking with them, or is?
Right, you need to get closer.
I can't hear it, right?
Was there any checking with Phoenix Greyhound?
They have pretty strict guidelines. We have one, Roman's Oasis has a permit, a wagering permit on site, and we've had them in Goodyear for 8 years, and we haven't had any problems. When the permit expires, we are not required to do a public hearing, but we have to call the Gaming Commission to make sure that there have been no violations or any problems. So it's regulated pretty tightly.
This is, this permit has limitations, right? I mean, for how long? How long is this?
1 year?
1 year.
1 year.
It's a 1-year permit.
And then
They
we'll,
have to keep coming back to council for that
Yes.
renewal? Okay.
well, no, last year, for Romans, we have not come back to council. We go through the state's requirements, we call the Gaming Commission to make sure that there have been no problems, and then we renew it for another year. They pay a fee, I think it's $250 the second year to renew it, and we just follow that process.
Yes, Councilmember Holland?
Lynn, this will be the same?
As Romans?
Yeah.
Yes,
Okay, and they've met all the requirements that we levied on them?
yes, as far as I know.
Councilmember Souza?
Can I ask the individual that, why are these people moving from Avondale to Goodyear? Why did they lose their location in Avondale?
The bar there wanted to have, first of all, my name's Curtis Swanberg. I'm with Phoenix Greyhound Park. The bar there wanted to have bands at night, and we run till approximately 12 o'clock. We can't run past 12. So they didn't want to sign a contract with us. So that's why we have numerous kennels out here that have dogs, and there's quite a few patrons that live here that participated with us. But that's the main reason. Otherwise, we'd still be there.
You said that they wanted to have bands there?
Music bands, yes, at night.
Do you plan that here?
No. The bar's too small. I'd like to clear up a few things. The state requires that everybody be licensed and fingerprinted. That includes the owners of the place, their general manager, anybody we hire. They cannot have a felony or anything like that. Also, I go to each of the sites at least once a month, and I check with the owner or the general manager if there's been any problems. If there is, we correct them. We have never had a problem or a police call in the 12 years that we've been doing it, or actually 18 years now, where we've had a problem with fights or anything like that. And like I said, it's governed by the state. They have their inspectors that come around too and double check to make sure the employees are wearing their license and so forth.
So the employees behind the counter collecting the cash for the off-track betting are actually your employees just stationed in a off-site
Correct.
facility?
I put a booth in. We put the TVs in,
Yep.
the dish up on the roof, and we put a small safe in the floor behind the booth. And we have checks to pay out big payoffs because, I don't have, a large amount of money there. They have enough to work with. And again, it's highly regulated, and we've never had a problem. Never.
Councilmember Cavalier?
How long has
Daniel Luciano own the dog track?
He does not own it. He's just the general manager.
Oh, he's general manager.
I'm the off-track betting manager for the state. It's American Greyhound Racing, Inc. It's owned by a family in Buffalo, New York, and they have many racetracks throughout the country, and they're into the concession part, too. They have a part establishment in the airport, at baseball fields, and everything. It's a big family thing, and again, we've had no problems whatsoever.
I'm just curious, do you ever have any trouble with the Animal Rights Coalition?
Yeah, once in a while, they will picket the dog track, especially like when we have the wiener dogs races. They feel that that's cruel to the little dogs while they run maybe the length of this room a little further, and it's, but everybody has their own things that they do,
Other comments?
One other thing I'd like to mention, too, which I didn't, we have a charity program where at the end of the year, we set aside 9 days to put this money in from that we have gained in those 9 days into a fund, and then we send a letter to the mayor and say, we've got X amount of dollars, where do you want it to go? It has to be a 501(c) organization. In 2006, we gave to the city of Avondale $3,500 to go to different charities. This is our way of giving back to the cities, and we do that yearly.
Thank you.
Okay.
Looking forward to it.
Thank you.
You're going to be betting there.
Okay, we're going to have a roll call vote now, and would each member please state 1, recommendation to approve, or 2, recommendation to deny, or no recommendation. Oh, there you go.
I didn't leave. Councilmember Sousa,
Recommendation to approve.
Councilmember Cavalier,
Approve.
Councilmember Lord,
No recommendation.
Councilmember Holland,
Approve.
Vice Mayor Antoniak, Mayor Kavanaugh.
Recommendation to approve.
We have 5 to approve and 1 no recommendation.
Passes.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Now move to consider adoption of an ordinance for Phase 2 pad commercial parcel amendment and the Las Brisas. And Steve Kretschmer. Steve.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, council members. This is a PAD amendment for a portion of the Las Brisas PAD. Location of this parcel is the northeast corner of Perryville and Broadway. Everything to the north and east will be part of the larger Las Brisas PAD. To the west, we have the town of Buckeye, and to the south, we have Maricopa County. Development in this area is mostly agricultural with a scattered home sites on about acre-sized lots. This is a view of the larger Las Brisas PAD. This is the commercial parcel of tonight's action. As you can see from this drawing, most of the development within Las Brisas will be residential, single-family. The PAD for Las Brisas was rezoned in September 2006, and that PAD designated this parcel for C1 neighborhood commercial type uses and development standards. The applicant is requesting this amendment tonight because they were looking at the limitations posed by the current C1 zoning, which limits single users to 10,000 square feet and an overall center to 50,000 square feet. The applicant's intent for this area being neighborhood type commercial uses, looking at these limitations, thought they could better utilize the property with a C2, something similar to the C2 type zoning classification. And the city C2 doesn't have any formal limitation on the size of any single user or overall center. The applicant is also proposing in their PAD narrative a specific list of uses for the property, generally based on the city C2, but with a few exceptions taking out most of the larger type uses specifically like the large retail user, the big box, still requires a use permit. So we're not loosening up any sort of standards with this PAD amendment. Narrative also states in there that a buffer will be placed along the east property line, which will basically be all along that shared property line with the residential, a much larger than required buffer of 30 feet with an 8-foot high masonry wall and a 24-inch box trees planted within that area. Also a stipulation on deliveries, basically refuse and non-perishable items. They'll be limited between the hours of 6 a.m. and 10 p.m. With that, staff has reviewed this application. We find it consistent with the general plan and compatible with the surrounding area. Staff and the Planning and Zoning Commission recommend approval. With that, Mr. Mayor, staff's available for questions, as is the applicant.
Okay, thank you. Opportunity for the applicant to comment.
Hello, Mayor, members of the council. Jeff Plowley, 4800 North Scottsdale Road. Not much to add. It's a pretty straightforward request. It's about a 20-acre site. We just felt that the uses we listed were a little more commensurate with the site. The only thing I wanted to add was we were contacted by staff regarding this stipulation regarding the deliveries. It was actually after the P&Z Commission. We were hoping to see if we could get the limitation from, instead of from 10 to 6, from 10 to 5 a.m., if that was possible. Other than that, I'm here to answer any questions you might have.
Limitation is 10 to 6?
I believe that's what staff's recommending.
And you want to change it to 10 to 5?
10 to 5, yes. 1 hour earlier.
10 to 6 is acceptable but not desirable, is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Opportunity for the public to comment? Okay, I ask the clerk to read the ordinance by title only, please.
Adopt ordinance number 08-1105, amending a 19.35-acre portion of the Las Brisas Phase 2 Planned Area Development Pad, generally located at the northeast corner of Perryville Road and Broadway Road, from Pad C1 to Pad General Commercial, adopting supplementary zoning map number 07-026 to provide for the change in zoning, providing separability, and providing for an effective date.
Mr. Mayor, I move that we approve, or council adopt ordinance number 08-1105 and, as read by the clerk.
Second.
Motion from Vice Mayor Antoniak and a second from Councilmember Cavalier. Go ahead.
I have a question for staff on that. What's our current noise ordinance addressing just nuisance noise in neighborhoods and that sort of thing? Is it 10 to 6? We don't have one. I see a nod of the head. We don't have one.
I think they've been working on something.
I was looking at you.
Mayor, Vice Mayor, no, our current ordinance, I believe it does limit trash pickup not before 6 a.m. for the trash.
Okay.
Commercial trash pickup. Is that correct?
Other developments, we typically have said 10 to 6, haven't we?
That's correct, and we used that time frame because that was consistent with what we imposed on Walmart and other commercial developments. And if you notice on their site plan, the lots are really abutting this commercial development. And if it's a grocery store, we want to limit the amount of pickups behind there.
Yeah, I'm compelled to stick with the staff recommendation on this one, 10 to 6.
So
Just,
am I.
no hard feelings between your clients, Jeff, but
Councilmember Lord.
That was my concern, but
Okay.
sorry about. So I would like to stay with what we've been doing with the other stores.
Councilmember Souza.
Yes, Steve, how many residential lots are there in Phase 1? Las Brisas? Do you know offhand?
This Phase 1 right here?
Yeah.
What's that got to do with it?
This Phase 1, sir?
Yeah, that area. Do you have any idea offhand?
Memory serves me, I'd say about, give or take, 300 in between these three separate parcels.
Really, then this becomes a service area for those properties then, right? And surrounding areas. Or will, rather.
Mr. Mayor, councilors, I mean, the size of the property, an applicant could probably expand some more, but that's how we were looking at it. More of a neighborhood to serve this area versus a regional type center.
Okay. Thanks, David.
Councilmember Cavalier?
Yeah, this would be a commercial type neighborhood. This couldn't be warehouses or anything like that. This would be commercial retail type. Okay.
Okay, and the motion as read is 10 to 6, correct? Okay. Okay. Roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Cavalier.
Aye.
Councilmember Lord.
Aye.
Councilmember Holland.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Antoniak.
Aye.
Councilmember Sousa.
Aye.
Mayor Kavanaugh.
Aye.
Passes 6-0.
So now move to consider approving the preliminary plat for Stray Mountain Ranch Golf Village. Farhad?
Thank you, Mayor and council members. As always, I'll begin by providing you with some quick background information about this site being considered for preliminary plat. And what you're looking at here on the overhead are the 3 parcels that are being subdivided through this instrument. Parcels 5.1, 5.3, and 5.5, and what you're looking at up north is San Miguel Drive. This is, of course, being Estrella Mountain Ranch, or Estrella, as I should call it nowadays. And further to the south are parcels 97 and 98 of Gulf Village. And incidentally, these 3 parcels are a part of Gulf Village. These home sites that you're looking at here at the southwest, those are within the county, and there are existing residences on those lots.
Where's that again?
This area right here. In fact, this, I believe, is the corporate limits between the city and the county. It's a blue line, the thick blue line. So again, these 3 parcels are, totaling 121 acres. What the applicant is proposing is subdividing these 3 lots, and these 3 parcels, and I'll go over each of these parcels and how they're being subdivided in a little bit. But at the end, we're going to be looking at 242 residential lots with 34 tracts, open space tracts. And I will begin by showing you actually the first sheet. Beg your pardon. Here we go. I'll just refer to this, the first sheet of the attached preliminary plat that you have, and I will be explaining a very minor revision that has been made, particularly to parcel 5.5 and how that has been subdivided. And then at the end, I think you'll find it a very beneficial change. Beginning with parcel 5.1, and you could look at the subsequent pages if you want a more detailed lotting illustration. But over there you're looking at 58 lots with the minimum lot depth and width being at 90 by 130 feet. Lots range anywhere between just under 12,000 square feet to about 29,000 square feet. There you're looking at a density of 1.8 dwellings units to the acre. The northern portion, and at this point this is where you might want to refer to some of the subsequent pages, but you'll notice, and I'll refer to sheet 3, there's a lot of dynamic topography, if you will, here to the north. Oh, I beg your pardon. Let me zoom out here. That's the problem what Sean was having. But here is a lot of the hillsides that have been basically earmarked for open space and as tracts as a part of the subdivision for 5.1. So again, there we're looking at 58 lots. Parcel 5.3, which is right across this, currently Westar Drive doesn't exist, but here would be the alignment. We were just looking at 5.1 in this area here. But parcel 5.3 will feature the smaller lots among these 3 subdivisions, where we're looking at 47 lots with a minimum lot width and depth of 70 by 130 feet, and lots ranging between 9,100 and about 17,600 square feet. And there we're looking at 2 dwelling units to the acre. And then finally, parcel 5.5, and this is, parcel 5.5 is covered and is captured in 2 pages here. But there you're looking at lots that are similar in size to parcel 5.1. We're looking at 137 lots, and that is the revised count. Earlier, you were looking at 139 in the packets that I sent, or I should say you received probably a week ago, if not a few days ago. There we're looking at 80 by 130 feet for a lot width and depth, and lots ranging in size between 10,000 and about 25,000 square feet. There we're looking at a density of just over 2 dwellings to the acre. And what I want to particularly point out here is because of some of the topography and a lot of the steep hillsides, particularly the hillsides that where the slopes are greater than 20%, a couple of the lots have been deleted from the parcel 5.5. And particularly lots 143 and 144, which used to sit right here at this hillside further to the west and near the golf course. Also, you might notice in the earlier, in the previous plat map, there was a cul-de-sac in this area here, and that has been removed to minimize some of the grading and cutting, and the lot depth has been extended there. So essentially, those are the only revisions that have been made since you received the coax. With that, staff is recommending approval based on the 23 stipulations that you have before you. We believe that the changes that have been made recently, based on the comments that were received by the Planning and Zoning Commission, are a good faith effort in trying to preserve some of these hillsides. And with that, I'll conclude my comments. The Neolin Communities is here, as well as the engineers acting on their behalf. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Opportunity for the applicant to speak? Okay. Opportunity for the public to comment. Public comment? Okay, seeing none, I'd ask the clerk to read this. No, I don't have to do that. Call for motion, please, to approve the preliminary plat.
Second.
I have a motion from Vice Mayor Antoniak and a second from Councilmember Holland. Open for discussion. Preliminary plat. All those in favor signify by stating aye, please.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it, 6-0. Thank you, Farhad.
Sure.
We'll now move to do D&E. They'll be briefed at one time by Sean Bradford, I believe. And then relating to Ottoman well development. And first thing, we'll ask for motion for a contract with Malcolm Purney, and then later a contract with Pcl Construction. So we'll break it into 2, but Sean, you're taking them both at once, correct?
Yes, Mayor. Good evening, Mayor, members of the council. I just wanted to give you a brief overview of the Ottoman Water Project, just to bring you up to speed where we're at and where we're headed here in the near term. The area outlined in red is the Ottoman Mutual Water Company's service territory. What we've done is we're working with CM at Risk's team of Malcolm Purney, engineers, and Pcl Construction. They'll be looking at a design and construction of, at a minimum, a water pipeline from the Ottoman Mutual Water Company service territory into the city of Goodyear, and then looking at utilizing existing ag wells, potential conversion of ag wells to potable wells, the drilling of new wells, and then there's also going to be some opportunities for us to use our surface water and do in lieu projects with the farming community, where we would provide them surface water in lieu of additional groundwater pumping and possible recharge and recovery of surface water. So the Ottoman Mutual Water Company is a huge piece of infrastructure for us. It's a large water resource at a minimum. It's an 80-year agreement with 3 10-year renewals, so it's a 100-year assured water supply with a minimum, we believe, of 10 million gallons a day of groundwater. And then if we can do some additional in lieu projects, recharge and recovery, it could potentially yield up to 15 to 20 million gallons a day of water for the city of Goodyear. So it's a huge resource. When you look at full build-out, that could be up to 20% to 25% of our overall water supply coming from here. The really good news is TDS levels are around 500, so that means no brine, which may sadden some people, but not the group at Water Resources. The important thing that I wanted to talk to the council about tonight is the pipeline alignment. we need to run a pipeline approximately 7 miles from the Ottoman Mutual Water Company into the city. We've identified the Canyon Trails Booster and Storage as the end point. That's the red block down at the bottom of the screen. That's along Saraville Avenue. We have commissioned a study in the past with another engineering firm to look at possible alignments through and or around the Pebble Creek development. We met with a gentleman from Robeson Communities, Ken Marks, last week, and we started the dialogue on potential alignments. We have not made any decisions. Any decisions that are made, we will engage the HOA, we will engage the City Council, we will engage the community in general. But an alignment does, it needs to be picked at some point, and we're fast approaching that time. So we're looking at multiple alignments. Some feedback that I got from Ken Marks and his people at Robeson is there's a potential that we can look to modify alternative number 2, which is that orange line, and actually bring the line down into Saraville and then loop around to the west, their golf clubhouse area. It's kind of that dirt road that's shown, that little triangle that sticks out, and then continue it down the orange line and alternative number 2, which gets it away from the more developed areas within the Pebble Creek development. Obviously, cost implications are going to be huge. If we move water lines a mile, it could be up to a $2 million increase in costs. Pipe is very expensive, and getting it into the ground is even more. So it's going to be a balance. We're going to need some feedback from you when we've got a recommendation. We don't have a recommendation at this point, but before we move forward on anything, we'll definitely engage not only the City Council but the community as a whole. What we're proposing tonight is 2 contracts, one for Malcolm Perney and one for PCL. And what they're going to be doing is they're going to be master planning this entire project. They'll be looking at water supplies, some of the projects I talked about, in lieu, recharge recovery, and then pipeline alignments. Both firms are highly qualified. They've done these sort of things in the past. They've gone into very high-profile neighborhoods and have done projects very professionally and very quickly. That's one of the criteria that we use to assess their abilities and picking them for the team. I've got the 2 contractors. They're here tonight, representatives from them. I think that this is the best team that we've assembled. And at this point, I would just look for approval of these 2 contracts. And then in the future, what we'll be bringing back is the timing of development has allowed us to take a step back. We will be bringing back guaranteed maximum prices. We'll be bringing back hard contracts where we have everything has been predetermined, where in the past we've been a bit reactionary, where we needed to find a water resource and we'll take the best we can find. This project is going to be much more proactive, where we'll find the most economical routes, the most routes that affect the minimum amount of people. There's a balance there, and then also to find the highest quality water sources to bring into the city. So there'll be future contracts. One will be with PCL for the actual construction, and then one will be with Malcolm Perney to finish the design and to provide kind of contract and contractor oversight. So with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have at this point.
Okay, thank you. Any comments from the applicants? I guess there are applicants. None? Okay. Comments from the public? Okay, if you'd like to make a comment on the pipeline alignment, it's probably best to do it up front before we do the first contract. But I'll first call for a motion to approve a contract with Malcolm Perney.
Mr. Mayor, I move that council approve a contract with Malcolm Perney, Inc., MPI, not to exceed the amount of $829,038 to provide master planning and design for the Ottoman Mutual Water Company well development, storage, booster, and pipeline project, and authorize the city manager to execute all documents.
I'll second that.
Motion from Vice Mayor Antonek, second from Councilmember Holland. It's open for discussion. Councilmember Holland?
Just a question, Sean. Have you worked out anything with Lipsco yet? Because they were going to run a pipe also through Pebble Creek, on Saraville, as a matter of fact.
Lipsco was working with a developer to the north. I believe it was in county land, and they were going to be looking to bring some type of sewer interceptor or sewer line through a similar alignment. And what we will be doing, once we pick the alignment that is best for the city, we'll be engaging Lipsco and seeing if their developer is still along the same timelines that they were in the past. In talking to Ken, they haven't heard anything from Lipsco or the developer in quite some time, so that leads me to believe that project may have slid. But it's important that if there's going to be a construction project, we do both at once. It makes a lot more sense than to try to do things piecemeal. But it's important that the city's timeline for its water resources be met and not delayed, where it could harm us meeting the future demand. So if there's if there's phasing that we can do to accomplish that and get it all together, we'd be more than happy. If not, we'll make it pretty clear to all the other parties involved that it would be in their best interest to partner with us at this point.
Right, and that we're going to do it no matter what, and if they want to get in there, they better move their timeline to...
Yes.
Okay, I'm with you.
Councilmember Cavalier?
Yeah, just a question on your size of your pipeline. You'll make certain that the size is adequate so that later on, 10, 15 years down the road, we say, oh, that should have been a larger pipeline than it is, because that has happened in the past.
Yes, it has.
And, but that's part of what you will be watching.
Mayor Kavanaugh, Councilmember Cavalier, absolutely. What we're doing with the master planning is we want to identify all of our opportunities in the Ottoman Water Company service territory, the in lieu, the other projects, so that when we identify what we want to, the criteria that we want to work with, we can identify pipe size relatively easily. We don't want to put it in too big, but we definitely want it.
Too small either.
No.
Vice Mayor?
Can you back up to the larger slide? Ottoman Water is large. Is it largely within Glendale?
It's actually, I believe, there's
unincorporated now.
It's unincorporated. There's a strip annexation, and I'm not exactly sure which east-west street that is, but there's Camelback.
No, it's in
Glendale.
Glendale unincorporated.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
It's on Glendale, right?
Is there precedent? We run any risk of I mean, our commitments from Ottoman will outlive any future sale of the water company and outlive any future transition of that water company to a municipal water service or otherwise.
Yes, we have the right within the agreement that it follows any future ownership.
And you said it was 10 to potentially 15, 20 million gallons a day?
The deal for the groundwater withdrawal is up to 10 million gallons a day of essentially Ottoman groundwater that we'll pump out of the ground. We'll pay Ottoman, an acre-foot cost for that water, and then we also get, which is the benefit to the cities, we get to use Ottoman's power. They have a preferential power rate, so we get to use their power. So we'll pay for the electricity, but we'll get it at their rate, which is advantageous for the city. And then the other in lieu projects are in addition to that 10 million. So if we have approximately 15 million gallons of surface water, we're engaging the Gila Indians on a lease agreement, a 100-year lease agreement. We're signing those papers, and we'll be bringing back. I think we have to bring the agreement back to council, but we'll be working on getting that thing signed up. We've got the next round of allocation of CAP water, so we're going to have about 15 million gallons per day of surface water, and we're looking to do a combination of pulling some water out of the surface water treatment plant that's under construction, and we're working on potential alignments, and we're working on agreements as we speak on those projects, and hopefully be bringing that back to the council soon. And then we'll be looking at in lieu or recharge and recovery. There's huge cost savings. Surface water is typically much more expensive to treat than groundwater. So if we can provide the farmers surface water, which is as good or better of a quality in some respects for their crops, it allows us to pump out a lower cost groundwater that we can deliver to the city. So it's a win-win. They don't have to pay to pump. We can convey that by gravity. Gravity's on our side, and we can get the cheaper groundwater out of the ground for treatment. So it's a good deal for everyone.
Appreciate how you're, in comparison, one comment, appreciate how you're thinking this through. Second, in comparison, how much does Lipsco serve in terms of fresh water or groundwater to their customers?
Lipsco has a similar number of service connections that the city does, about 15,000. So I don't have offhand, but if it's similar size and similar demand, they're probably in the 10 million gallon per day range.
Okay.
That's an estimate.
Councilmember Lord?
Just a comment. Pebble Creek approached me this weekend at a social event, and they're quite upset. This goes right by the new athletic center, which just opened, goes through a community that's just developed, and they're concerned about their sales for the coming year, which in a sense affects us too, because we get money from that. So anything you consider, I'd be interested to know what the cost is to make that loop.
In conversations with Ken Marks, he did mention the sales, and we're very sensitive to that, and he felt that summertime is the best. It's typically when their sales are the lowest. And again, we're trying to find some alternative alignments, looking along that orange line that'll get us off of the more developed areas and into some of the areas that are under construction, so sales aren't as critical through there, and get in and get out before people, en masse move into that development. So we want to go as quickly as we can, but there is sensitivity to not just rush this thing through. But I would ask that if you are approached, no decision has been made on any pipeline alignment at this point.
Councilmember Holland?
That's one of the reasons I asked about the deal with Lipscomb, because you see, they've already discussed it, and they will have to come that way. And if they're going to tear the ground up, we might as well be a partner with them. Or if they're going to tear it up, maybe we can get it started at the same time. That's what he's talking about, that partnership.
Do they have to come to us for construction permits?
I believe on some streets within the city, there's utility easements. I'm not sure if Lipscomb has utility easement through the Saraville Road. I know the city has a public utility easement for our infrastructure.
They have to come to us for that utility easement?
I would think so, if they don't already have it.
Mayor, council members, yes, they do, just like any other developer.
Sounds like a pretty darn good bargaining chip.
Sean, you know, the cost of this pipe will affect water rates for those south of I-10, correct? Well, it might a little bit.
Yes.
So we want to minimize the cost. What disruption are we really talking about here you're going to dig a trench, you're going to drop in a line. How long does that take? How long would the disruption occur?
In discussions with the consultant, and PCL is more than welcome to jump up in here, the numbers we've heard is they can lay up to 400 feet of pipe a day. So, you know, we're going to move as quickly as we can. We don't want to, you know, totally disrupt the road. There will be road detours and potentially closures, but they'll be minimal.
A month? 2 months?
I wouldn't want to say without let the contractor speak to the road closure.
Maybe also give it in the context, in addition to the full length, but the context of being in front of any one given property for a certain length of time would be helpful to understand.
Okay, my name's Tom O'Donnell. I'm mayor of City Council, and I'm representing PCL here tonight. And Sean is absolutely right. We can lay pipe very quickly, usually somewhere around a mile a month in a very constrained area such as Pebble Creek. So we could probably get out of there in a month.
From the time you initially dig the trench until you leave?
Yes. The way the pipe construction actually works, we cut the asphalt, we excavate the asphalt, we excavate the pipe trench, we place the pipe in the trench, we backfill it, and we pave as we go.
Okay. Any other questions or comments?
No, that was helpful.
Okay. Is that it, Sean?
That's all. Thank you, Mayor.
Okay. Where are we here?
Mayor, expectations real quick. The gentleman's last statement, in and out in a month. Withstanding no rain, no weather, no other unforeseen circumstances, I assume, correct? I want to make sure we don't set an expectation you're going to be done with this project in a month, and then you're coming back and telling us 3 months later. A mile a month.
A mile a month. Through the Pebble Creek area. Obviously, this pipeline is over 7 miles long.
Okay.
So we're just talking about the Pebble Creek area right now. And we are scheduling to do this work sometime in the summer months, so hopefully the rain and weather issues won't affect us that much.
You just said something that surprised me. You said 7 miles. You need to explain where that is on this 2 mile chart.
Sure.
There's 2 section lines.
This is through the Pebble Creek development.
Okay, all the way up. Okay.
All the way up.
All right, but in Pebble Creek, it's about 2 miles. Is that correct or not? Yes.
Just looking at it.
That's 1 mile, isn't it?
I heard the number 7, and it's not in Pebble Creek 7.
It's about 1 mile.
1 mile.
Is that all it is?
Yeah, from Indian School to
Indian School to
McDowell.
McDowell is 2 miles.
That's 2.
It's 2. 2.
Yeah, okay, that's what I thought. It's 2 miles in Pebble Creek here.
That's 2 miles.
All right,
I have
that's
consultants. I'm not
7.
good with
Okay,
numbers.
good.
2 miles.
That's to your advantage.
Absolutely. And he said a month, so I didn't.
See? Expectations.
Okay. Comments from the public? Did I ask for that?
Yes, you got a motion on the floor.
I do.
Yes, you do, sir.
Okay, that's right. You made the motion. This is to approve the contract with Malcolm Pierney. Any further discussion? Okay, all those in favor of the motion signify by stating aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it, 6-0. We'll now go to approve a contract with PCL Construction, and I believe you've already briefed us, Sean, correct? Okay, could I have a motion? Any comments from the public? Could I have a motion to approve a contract with PCL Construction?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion, and the dollar value probably should be stated.
Council approve a contract with PCL Construction Incorporated not to exceed the amount of $273,083 to provide design and constructability consulting services for the Ottoman Mutual Water Company well development, storage booster, and pipeline project, period.
Okay, thank you. Motion from Councilmember Souza, a second from Councilmember Holland. Any discussion? All those in favor of the motion signify by stating aye, please.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, the ayes have it, 6-0. Okay, that's business, thank you. Information items, any current events, comments from the council? Vice Mayor?
Yeah, just, we had a recreation roundtable, feels like it was last week, but I think it was the week before. Was it last week?
Yeah.
Week before last.
Yeah.
But, Brian, just a kudos to your staff, both Jim Nichols, Cato, a number of other individuals in that staff that participated in that. I thought we had a great dialogue. Councilwoman Lord and Osborne both joined me at that meeting, and some good positive dialogue coming out of the discussion, I think. And look forward to next month. We'll be getting together. So look forward to hearing from staff on potential dates for next month.
Okay, further items? Any other items? Okay, opportunity for the city manager, and I know there's one action item at least.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, members of the council, one action item I had was consider our reviewing our ordinance to evaluate the limitations on number of permits for off-track bedding. So we'll look at the ordinance and we'll bring back, we'll evaluate it and bring that back to council.
Okay, thank you. Any inquiries of staff by council?
Yes, I'd like to know, and for the future, not answer this tonight, but for the future, who is going to take up the slack on the work that Laurie Hildebrand was working on? One is the Business Coalition representative from the city, and the second one is the liaison for the universities, and third, who's going to continue the application process for the All-American City. And I don't need an answer on that tonight, but I think we need to look into those, because those are three very important items that that person was working on and is no longer here.
Okay, thank you.
One addition to the staff stuff. It was left over from the work session, but Larry's going to get back to us with the split on the sales tax from the work session.
That's correct. I didn't address the work session items, but yes, we had some follow-up from both items on the work session.
Okay, we are going to adjourn, and then we're going to have an executive session, and 2 or 3 staff members will be in that, correct?
Yes.
And the council. Okay, but why don't we, 55?
6:55.
Okay, why don't we meet at 7?
Okay.
Meeting's adjourned.
Rob?